I'm going to kind of give you a little rundown on how this all got started for me. Light painting is really from two Greek words, light and drawing. And somebody coined that phrase in 1839, like drawing with light, which is what photography was. That was in its infancy. How did I get started with this? Well, many years ago, I bought a camera from a sailor at the Houston bus depot. They made it $7 to get home. I gave him $7 for the camera. And I was in high school and I learned all about f-stops and shutter speeds. And when the such thing as ISO back then, we had 64. That was it. So didn't have too many choices. Or you could go to 25 if you really hated yourself. So there was one setting on there that hey, we got a screen. I can use this. Shutter speed was called B. And I couldn't figure out what that was until I read some history. Found it means bulb in the old days of the bulb that they squeezed to get it. So as long as you hold the button down, the shutter's open. So driving out in West Texas, I went to school in Lubbock, and driving in West Texas, I had a thunderstorm going off beside me. I thought, I wonder if I can get a picture of this at night. I just set it on B and held up against the window. Crazy college kid. I'm driving with one hand and taking a picture with the other one. I just left the thing open and got this shot. Now, the fact that there's two levels, I went over an overpass. There's nothing in West Texas that's got elevation other than overpasses. I thought, wow, that's really cool. So I started playing around with the slow shutters, and then we went backpacking in Big Bend shortly after we were married. And I was laying in my sleeping bag looking up at the sky and said, man, the stars are brilliant. It's unbelievable. So I set my camera up on my boots, put it in B and locked the shutter open, which you could do with the Canon F1s. And I thought, hey, I'll take a 10-minute shot and see what it looks like. And 4 hours later, I woke up. I said, wow, my camera. We took shutter off. So ended up with this shot of the star tracks. And I thought, man, this is just really too much, So ever since I played around with slow shutter speeds. And I started doing light painting. Originally, I photographed a friend's house at night. I set my camera on a tripod, opened the shutter, went around with a flash, lit up parts of the house. And it looked cheesy, but it was okay. And I got pretty good at doing some of that. I ended up doing one of our machines that was 2 stories tall in a big building that we built for stacking fiberglass insulation. So I shot for over 2 hours. I got it over 2 hours. I'm around popping flashes everywhere, and it turned out really good. Thank goodness, because they were paying me for it. So I use a lot of different flashlights for light painting, and everybody thinks you have to have a real powerful light. No, because you got high ISO, long shutter speeds. It doesn't take much light to fill in what you want to do. Also have keep a bunch of colored gels around, and I bought some. These are, real cheap. I got them from Amazon. Ever heard of Amazon?
No.
Oh, yeah. These weren't cheap, but they go with my flash system, and they are really good gels, and there are a whole bunch of different colors in there. My flash system has got a thing that will deflect the light, and those gels fit in there. It's all held together with magnets, so I'm going to take it off, turn it the other way, have it go to the side. I use it for macro illumination. I put it on like that and put this on the camera, and then the subject's right here. So I get a good light on the subject using this thing. It's from Magmod, M-A-G-M-O-D, and they're not cheap, but they really are nice, and it crunches up. The hardest thing about it is getting this thing to fit on your flash, the magnet holders. All right. And then that long stick, this thing. I saw a guy using one, and I went on, got my phone and my memory bank and took a picture of it so I could find out what it was and order one. And it's I'll show you what I do with that thing. All right, here's a little thing you can play with at home. We do this occasionally at our workshop in Wyoming at the ranch. we pick a subject. Um, Maybe I'm too far away. Our remote's not happy being over there. Okay. Tripod, set your camera up on a tripod, take the subject that you're going to photograph, and it doesn't matter what it is. Small, low power flashlight, or a couple of them, or a laser pointer, whatever you want to play with. It's kind of fun to do. Black cloth, like we have here, non-reflective, and a dark room, maybe a basement or wherever, even outside, but someplace where you can photograph this. Set your camera to f8, ISO 200, 60-second shutter speed, and a self timer. So when you push the button, you got time to walk over where your subject is and start lighting it up with a flashlight. The thing you have to remember is you may be lighting it up right here, but if your camera's back there, it's not going to see it. So you got to do everything to the side so that you light it from the side so the camera can see what's going on. All right. So what subject did we shoot? Cowboy boot. We're in Wyoming and ranch. And that's kind of a first glance, first pass. Not so great. This time we got a little bit too much light on the background. You never know what it's going to look like. You have to do 3 or 4 of these. So it's going to take you 2 or 3 minutes. There's kind of the finished goods. And you kind of look to see where you missed it last time or where you got too much, and you work around that and paint. Just painting with little light flashlights. Kind of a fun thing to do. Here's another illumination of I used a big powerful flashlight for that because I was quite a ways away, and I shoot with a 600 millimeter lens of this owl sitting on a post at the ranch. Had a guy light it up for me. My grandson had a Saturn V Estes rocket that he wanted to get pictures of, and I found an old erector set from when I was 12, and I built a tower for it. Lit it up with flashlights. I didn't know what to do with this, so I ended up adding the moon to the shots just for him. He thought it was really cool. All right, so this stuff, I'll just show you some of the things I've done with it. Color gels, low power flashlight. You can color, use the gels on the low power flashlight, and the things you can do. This is an old Nikon I had. And that's just those little lights going around with the gels on them and putting light, different colors on different parts of the camera. One of them, I just got some white and red cellophane and wrinkled it up around the lens and around the flashlight. It's just like a big ball of junk. You just went into the lens and back out, so it looks like smoke coming out of there. So there's some cool things to play around with, especially if it's 31 degrees or 24 degrees or something outside and you got nothing else better to do.
So you're taking gel by hand and then shining the light through it and walking around.
I actually wrap it around it.
Around.
Yeah, just hang on to it.
Yeah.
It's helpful if you wear a dark glove. I didn't bring one tonight, so.
Okay.
So this is it's called a Wandini, and it's semi-hokey, but it does pretty cool things. The balls on the end change colors, and they change as you're moving around, or you can make it one color and move it around. And I use it. This one I used for a high school senior who's a goalie for the soccer team, and photographed him in the basement. And I lit him up with my strobe, and then I had him stand perfectly still, and I ran this thing around behind him in the same colors, same orange to match up with his gloves, and I'm not sure he liked it, but his mom did. She's paying the bills. So. This is I'm using the light off the LCD to light up. Jim Richardson from National Geographic. This is out of the Tallgrass Prairie Preserve. Probably the very first night shot I took using digital. This is with a Canon 10D back. That was the very first one you could really afford to buy. And I showed it to Jim. He said, "I'll shoot a lot of those. Geographic likes those." So this is out on the ranch. We did do Milky Way, and then we all do it in unison. Everybody sets up and go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shoot. Everybody doing 30-second exposures, and I take a flashlight, light up the trees around there, so it looks kind of cool, with light painting the trees so that they're not just totally black. We have one light on in that cabin, 60-watt bulb, and you see what 60-watt bulb does, it just blows things out. Here's another one I did, but I cheated. I went out and I shot the Milky Way above the cabin, put rocks at feet of my tripod, so I knew exactly where it was. I never changed the angle or anything. I just brought it back into the cabin. Next morning, I went out before dawn, set it back down in the same spot, shot the bottom half, and then I put them together in Photoshop. So it's a lot easier than that flashlight. Cheating with my paint job. There's another one down in Peru. And the inside of those little huts were lit up with one candle in there. And I was out taking pictures of this, the Milky Way in the rainforest, which you'd never see stars even hardly. I was just amazed it was there. And as I was shooting all this, I kept hearing twigs and stuff cracking behind me. We've been talking about jaguars all evening. So I knew jaguar was going to get me, but yeah, it's photography. You got to do these things, take chances. This is out at Chase County Lake, and the little arrow things. The one up, the white one at the top is an airplane flying over, and the green ones are yellow. Green ones are lightning bugs.
Oh,
So they get involved, you know, when you're out there. So anyway, I was out there with a friend trying to teach him how to do this. I just took my little Panasonic Lumix, which is almost a toy camera, and I set it up at, say, 1600 ISO, 20 seconds, and this is the shot I got with that 7-14 2.8 lens. I think I was shooting at 7mm. And the guy was with me had a brand new Nikon 850, I think it was. Yeah, 850, 28 2.8 lens, ISO 1600 at 20 seconds. That's what he got. He's black. And I said, I can't understand why that's black. I mean, no, this camera lens is cheap compared to that thing. And he said, well, let's go up. We went up to ISO 3200, 20 seconds, black still. And I'm thinking, man, I don't know. I don't know the menus in my Nikon. Something's not right. No, lens cap was off. We checked that first.
yeah.
So I said, okay, one more try, and we'll. Said, okay, we went up to 6400 ISO, 20 seconds. Guess what? Nothing. It's still black. So he said, okay, I know what the settings should be. Let's just go home. I said, all right. So we're loading everything up in the truck, and he's taking his camera apart and putting everything in every compartment that belongs in. He said, do you think maybe I should have taken off the 4-stop polarizer? No. I said, yeah, do you want to go back out and shoot this again? I said, no, I know what to do now. So why did you have the polarizer on? So I just went to a workshop, and the guy said, always use a polarizer. Don't trust anybody teaching at these workshops. Most of
I was a polarizer.
What's that?
What is a polarizer?
It's it takes the light so that it makes the color more intense and cuts through the haze. You don't use it at night. You use it during the day.
Okay. Not something I would have in my bag.
So this I was out with. This is with Dwayne Graham. Believe it or not, we're out at Monument Rocks and the Keyhole, and he came walking by me, and he had the flashlight in his back pocket was on, red filter on it. And I was going to tell him, "Oh, you're flat." No, so let him go. I want to line up that whole keyhole for me. So I got this shot with the keyhole lit up in red as he walked through it. This is out at Mushroom Rock State Park, and that's in the winter. There's not much of a Milky Way then, but that's actually Christmas Eve. None of the kids were around. Jeff wanted to go, so Jeff Heil and I went out there and froze. This is out at Cedar Rock. Another one to show you can be done. This one I was very lazy. This is in Badlands National Park in South Dakota, and I just had the car. I pulled off in a parking lot. Nice things there in the Milky Way, and I set up, and the car came down the road and lit it up for me, and saved me a little on the batteries. So I said, try that again. So the guy comes by this time and I just barely caught the headlights going by. I got his tail lights too, so I got some paint on them. And then what I just did with the flashlights, just to so you can see the difference. And then this is probably my favorite from out there in Badlands. I shot this late one evening, and we went out and scouted out the spot to do it in. And you have to have a big flashlight. That's what I'll lift this thing up with, is this thing, which is not very bright at all, but it didn't take much when you're shooting high ISO, long shutter speeds. And I'll lift that whole thing up with it. And that looks huge. It's only about 8 feet tall. It's from here to the kitchen area back there. And then this is it. Carhenge in Nebraska. Anybody been to Carhenge? Yeah. It's a cool place. Nice place at night too. The clouds are moving pretty fast. I lit up the cars with the side of the flashlight. The other lights coming from the town of Alliance. This is kind of tricky. We were just on Teeter Rock, and I was just kind of bored because I'd shot everything I wanted to shoot. So I just took my flashlight, turned it on, stood behind the camera, and flipped it way up there, and it's flipping and over in down on the grass. That's not very exciting, but like the picture. And I did get in trouble once, and this is in Africa. I went outside my tent, about 20 yards from the tent, out where I flat spot, set my camera up to go do the Milky Way in the southern hemisphere because we're on 300 miles south of the equator. And I shot this one and lit up a few trees. I had to look at it. So I don't have it just right yet. I got to do some more to it. So I started shooting another one, and our guides were over there in that over here sitting outside, and they said, "Jim, are you taking pictures?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Go back inside." And I said, "Why?" They shine their spotlight lights on 3 hyenas that were coming towards me. I said, "Well, I didn't need night pictures, so I went back inside." All right. So here's a little one. I did this the other night, just testing to see if this would work. That's a car that's about this long, and I set it up in just like we're going to do tonight. I'm going to hook up my camera to the projector, and I'm going to show you how to do some light painting on. I just got another old camera there, and I light painted this thing, and then you can use this. That's just regular. The colored gels. You put red where you want it, you put blue where you want it. Just kind of fun to play around with. And then just for grins, I ran around behind it and took the flashlight behind and got that white stripe. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's worth trying that stuff to see. All right, so now this is real small scale stuff that I'm doing. There's a lot of things you can get to do that with. This is just a little light that I've got that's got reflectors on it, barn doors, and I can change the intensity of the light and change the color of it, and you can use it to light paint power on. So I can use it to do something like that on this side here, from over there, and you can see you can see what's going to happen with it. You can change the color temperature, all kinds of stuff with that. Pretty cool little device. What else have I got here? So if I'm doing something small, I shoot all Olympus stuff now. I used to shoot Canon, and they tried to charge me $1,000 to bring my cameras into Peru because they said, "You're a professional photographer. You're making money off our country." And it was at midnight. The lady's English was pretty poor, so I acted like I didn't understand her. And she tried 3 times to explain to me I had to pay to bring my cameras in the country, and I said, I don't understand, And she finally said, "Just go on." So I came home and sold all my Canon gear and bought Olympus, which doesn't look like professional stuff. It's quite small, lightweight, and my back thanked me, and my shoulder thanked me. So anyway, this Olympus gear has something called live composite. And what is live composite? Well, I'm going to shoot in live composite tonight because it's a small item on photograph. The live composite, basically, you take an establishing shot, whatever the subject is, and then you hit the shutter button again, and it continually shoots like 3-second or 4-second, or you set that 3-second shots. And all it does is add whatever is lighter. Like if I put some light on, it'll show up. And if I don't shoot anymore, it'll look just the same every time it shoots until I put more light on it. So it only adds whatever pixels are light. All right. If I'm going to do large items, I use this thing, which is basically just like that, only it's bigger, right? It's got more light. And I've done a couple of jobs with that thing. It's pretty impressive what you can do. So I'll show you. This is up in a museum. Can you see up here?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is up in a museum in Nebraska. We got a chance to photograph this car up there, and it's in an American Museum of Speed. And so we got all the lights turned off except for the emergency lights that they wouldn't let us turn off, the exit lights. And these are just shots I did with straight shots. So what we do with this thing, and the one I've got's a newer brand, there's some others that cost a lot more money. This seems to work okay. So we walk along, we're doing 10-second exposures, and walk on the light up high, lighting up kind of from the side. You see the trail where the light was going. And then we do another shot with a little bit lower, down on the side, or I'm actually up higher. And we do one from the backside. We do one that comes real low on the side, or lower on the side, one real low on the side, light up the wheels and tires and the fenders, and a couple from the front, a couple from the back. Put them together in Photoshop, and that's the result. So it's pretty impressive how this works. So I showed this to a buddy of mine out in Arizona. We have a winter house, and he's got a really nice Harley Davidson. So let's photograph your Harley Davidson. He said, sure, when? I said, how about tonight? He said, let's do it during the day. I said, no, we got to go tonight. So we drug it over, set it in this guy's open carport. And you can see the light path right on the top. Another one I made from the backside, lighting up part of it. Another one here from the down low, lighting up underneath it. Another one from the front, and did some from the back, top again, and from the back, and the front. And we put all those together, stitched them together in Photoshop. And there's the finished product. And it's this is not trimmed out right. I mean, the black is all goofy because I was trying to do it with a touchpad instead of a mouse. But anyway, it's sort of interesting to do. It's fun to do. It takes a little bit of time because you're shooting 7 or 8 shots and you composite them together in Photoshop. Anybody here use Photoshop? Okay, what I'm doing in Photoshop, I'll show you the basic thing. I've got, these are all the images stacked up together. And each one I do, I've also put in a mask on it, which is the little front-loading washing machine. And I mask out the stuff I don't want you to see. And then I turn the next one on here, turn that little eyeball on, do a mask on it, mask out the stuff I don't want you to see. And I'm using a blending mode called lighten. So all it does is add to the image below whatever's lighter in the image above. So you just keep working your way down through all these things. And I'll show you, I think I've got a close-up of that. Yeah, so you can see my masking job there. The black doesn't show, the white does show through. So I'm blocking a lot like the driveway here. I don't need this showing, so I'm blocking it out. It's blocked out in all of these for the most part. Some of it still shows through a little bit because I haven't started masking that one yet. But you see how that happens, just like your way through all of them.
Jim?
Yes.
Is the ORF the Olympus raw file?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing this in raw.
Yeah, I shoot it raw. You don't have to. You should.
No, but I mean in the Photoshop blending.
Yeah. Only because you get a much bigger file, which is more important. So for me, anyway, especially the guy wanted to make one size, go in his garage, size of his garage. Does that make sense? I hope it wasn't anybody's way. So that's kind of fun. Then as soon as his friends saw this, and Harley riders, they always ride solo. So all the ones in the park came, hey, can you do my motorcycle? So I said, sure. He said, well, just a straight flash, would that be okay? So I'll show it to you both ways. So I did a straight flash sitting in this guy's front of his house. And we did the 8 shots and put them together. And so look at this. This is a straight flash shot. Which one would you rather have? That or that? So you see the difference?
That's so cool.
And you think, man, this is really cool. So now I'm getting ready to do my brother's antique airplane. Yes, yes.
How does it look like a painting versus, I
It's
think
just,
that's why the light painting, but it looks like someone's spoiled.
yeah, if you look at the magazines and the articles and the ads, they're all done this way. So the guy that told me to do this shoots for Motor Trend magazine and Road and Track and a few other magazines. So he gave me, and it was pretty, I was gung ho, when it was over with, I want to go do this everywhere. I was
Well, I guess
photographing.
so.
So I even drug my old car out in my driveway one night, and I had Cindy run the camera, and I ran the lights, lit up my beautiful 55 farm car, 55 Chevy.
The show.
Anybody have any questions at this point? Any questions at this point? Yes,
The blurring of the light, that just happens naturally, or do you do that with Photoshop as well?
it does, everything's, and I wish I could do something about it, but generally it sort of looks like.
No, I like it. I just wondered if you did it on purpose.
Now, part of it's the paint job on the car is not that great, but it's old. Yes,
When you're taking your photos with a different light, are you stationary in one spot?
I'm walking through. I wore dark clothes and a dark glove, and you notice I've got on the back of this thing, I've got a towel. I put on there with Velcro so that no light shines to the backside, so I can walk along and paint. All right.
So then how do you match up your lights?
Well, the camera's on a tripod and never moves.
Well, that's what I guess I was asking.
Yeah, it's going to be in the
Because
same
the
place.
camera is stationary.
The camera's perfectly
If
safe.
you're moving around with your light.
It takes 2 people,
I got
and I've got a volunteer.
you.
Been training her for 55 years. She's getting better. So
That's great.
for 2 of us to do this, it doesn't take very long. The hard part is going into Photoshop and assembling the whole thing, and playing around with it a little bit, because you don't. If you mess up one mask, you can go back, but everything else above it is messed up. You got to go back to the bottom and start over again. So I haven't figured out a way to work around that yet. So anyway, that's it.
With the 10-second exposure, you're disappearing in the photo, right? As you're walking through.
Varying the exposure.
When you have a 10-second exposure and you're painting, you disappear out of the frame.
Yeah, I'm moving all the time. If you stand still, you'll show up.
Yeah.
Just walking through, you'll never see it. I'm shooting. If you want to try this, I'll play around with a good starting point, 10-second exposure, F11, ISO 100. And that's the starting point for doing these things. And then play with Photoshop. If you know Photoshop, it's not real tedious. So it's slow, but it's not a disaster to do it anyway.
You said F11?
What's that?
Said F11?
F11, yeah. That's just what works for me. And I go to ISO 100, and you can adjust from that, ISO 200 and F16 or something if you want to do the same thing. But okay, so anybody want to see me do this one? Light paint it.
With the live composite, yeah, that'd be neat.
What's that?
With the live composite, you said you can hook it in and show us.
Yeah, we'll show on the screen. So,
That's cool.
Do you ever light paint people?
no, they're too fast. Unless they're dead or frozen. Either one. Some way you could do that.
Just dig them up.
Yeah, we have, like the kid with the stuff going on behind him. I said, do not move. Here's what happens if you move, and then I move that light wand around behind him. Well, wait a minute, stuff changes shit. They end up with part of the light going into their head, it comes across, or a big black edge on it. So they have to be perfectly still. for the 4 or 5 seconds it takes me to run that wand through there. There are a couple more on here. There's some other light painting things. Oops, back up. I'll have them write this. Sam, can you put this on the website for people?
Yeah, I sure can.
I'll give it to you, so you don't have to write it down.
Yeah, I'll post that,
This guy's really good.
Later.
He does some really amazing things, and he's got a little thing there it's machined out of colored plexiglass. And so we have a flashlight shining through the plexiglass. It lights up all the places where the grooves have been cut in to make his leaves, and then he has all the little lights. And he goes out in the woods and does this sort of thing. So if you're really crafty and you can figure out exactly where you started and where you finished, and you can sit there and do this. And he's behind it all. It's dark enough that he's not showing up at all because the light's going towards the camera. There's another one he did. And if you just go into YouTube and put in light painting photography, there's hundreds of people doing this now, and they're all doing really cool stuff. This is kind of a cheap shot, but they use steel wool, set it on fire and sling it around, and there's sparks everywhere. It's really good in the dry season. This is
there we go.
It's used one of those light wands that just walk along and behind the lady. You think real hard, you can kind of see where he's been back there. A light, there's shades wherever he stopped to do his movements and stuff. It's still difficult. Another one of these guys slinging burning embers everywhere. Hope he's not in Jasper National Park. Another one with the wand behind, and they've got some kind of a edge on it that flops around like flames. Now, maybe it could be flames. I didn't see how he did it. There's a lot of this going on with brides and grooms and portrait sessions. Me? I'm too lazy. I don't want to do. I mean, it's fun to look at. It'd be fun to do. Another one, you guys slinging sparks from. So that's the most popular because it's fairly easy to do. Just go in the kitchen and get some steel wool, set it on fire and sling it around on a string.
But not in your kitchen, please.
Yeah, and wear a hard hat, and goggles, and flame-proof underwear. So if you give us a second, we'll set this up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, those of you on Zoom, I'm gonna have to unplug the direct feed in, but I'm gonna try and point the owl camera at the screen so that you can see it too, but just bear with me, hopefully we can get it to work.
Jim, the acknowledgement.
Go for it. Light painting or stable diffusion.
Well, nice thing with this live composite, you can see what it's doing as you're doing it. It shows up and you can say, I need more light on this side. I need more light on the other side. And you can actually see, yeah, it looks good.
Did you do that one, Jim?
Yeah. That was with I have a real long selfie stick. I got up there to get that joke. All right, we'll get a flashlight. Any flashlight. Do this.
You want to get a gel out? I get to pick the colors.
Oh, perfect. That's cool. Well, you didn't want her help.
I'll make him pay later.
So I'll just show you. Here we go. So live composite, first thing I'll do is take one shot and it gets it ready to shoot. Yeah, it sounds silly, but I'm going to shoot. So now it's ready to start shooting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to start shooting. And you just watch the screen. I'm going to come across with some light here. See it build up on there? Come across down low. And I can see where I need more light. And then I can come in and say, you know, some of this is coming kind of red from the back. Now, red is not going to come through this little light very well, but if I go along, I start seeing the red showing up on the different things there. I could do another color with blue. She's fast enough.
Come on, assistant.
You gotta get it. I'm gonna upgrade assistant here. So this one's dead.
Oh,
I don't need it. I can see
It's assistant.
that's like a magic.
a different light here. Oh, sorry. I haven't, still, this is a good flashlight. It's dead too. Where did you see it come from? There we go. All right, we got one here. The blue, I can come in with blue and you can see the blue starting to show up there. How quick that pops through. I get some blue highlights there. I'm gonna go back and do the red with this light. This light's a little stronger. I come back and do some red on here. We have backlight some of this red, some of this with red. You start to see red showing up. Let me get down a little closer.
The light is good.
You see red?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Then if I wanted to say, you know, this is a hot camera stolen or something, I can take this stuff and water it up and bring this into the lens and back out again.
Wow.
Into the lens back out again.
Oh,
So you got,
awesome.
see what that was real complicated. So do it exactly like I did, all right? So everybody, you see how it works? And how hard was that? And oh, I gotta hit the button again to tell it we're through. And that finishes that, writes it to the chip.
Jim?
Yes.
How did you set that camera up for 1/2 second exposures repeatedly?
So, well, live composite is built into Olympus cameras.
Okay, so it sets all.
Yeah, I bought them because they were smaller and lighter.
Yeah,
I found they have a lot of weird deals in it. Live composite's one of them.
and then were you getting a live histogram over there on the left front?
Yeah, so I can get a color histogram if I want, but I'm not really looking for it. But anyway, there's some real advantages to the live composite mode in these things. Because I can sit there and look, I don't have to look up here. I look at the screen on the camera. And if I'm up like that boot, I turn the screen around where I'm up there painting and I say, oh, I need some over on this side, some over here. So I can see it as I go.
Yeah.
Rather than have to, at the end of a minute, wait for it to come up on the screen. So, oh, I missed that spot over there. So it's a real advantage with the Olympus. But the camera we're photographing right there is a 1969 Canon F1 from Tokyo. Yeah. And I used to carry that. I carried 3 of those things backpacking and now. Yeah. I know. Well, everybody said, why do you carry that thing with that's expensive camera? You carry that on backpacking trips. I said, here's what the deal is. When I get through taking the pictures, I want to hang them on the wall. I can use that thing to drive the nails in. That's sturdy. So there was probably one of my, I mean, at one time I had 5 of the things. And they were just bad rugged. I mean, I field stripped it for you a minute ago, right? Took it apart. You can go right down to the bare nothing. And it's amazing.
I used to shoot ball games, but it was.
What's that?
I used to shoot football games with those.
Oh, yeah.
And if I remember right, they had a brass body.
It is. It's machined out of solid brass.
And heavy as it all get out, but just the toughest cameras.
Yeah, this one's got the little motor drive on it. The one shoots, I think, like 5 frames a second or 4 frames a second. I got the big one at home that's like this long, and it shoots, I think it's 8. I know you can get like 4 seconds on a 36 exposure roll. And you go, oh, time to reload. You got to rewind it, you know.
I lost it. My motor drive away.
Yeah,
He
these
wanted
are,
to use it for a weekend and he said no.
no, you carry it very long and you get worn out. So that's why I got married. Have a Sherpa. We backpacked a lot and I carried that thing. I'll just turn this on. Turn the lights on? Sure. You want to do another? Can we paint another one?
Sure.
Okay, let's do another. I got to make sure I'm still focused. Also, I turn on, I'm in manual focus. So I go till I get the red ants, and that says that's the stuff that's in focus. All right, good. We'll use this. Now, one things are dead. Keep dropping. Okay, I'm gonna use this thing, and I'll turn it on. And you'll see how fast this goes. Let me change the color temperature. I want to go to there. I want to make it really, really blue. Okay. And maybe I'll change. Well, I don't need to change. I'll just show you how fast it happens. All right, we're going to shoot. And all it says is we're ready to rock and roll, boys and girls. So you push the button again. You come across it like that. You come across it from here. And look at what's on the lens. That's really nice. Now I'm going to change it. I'll go to color temperature. Let's go the other way. Oh, yeah, go over there.
That really looks nice compared to plain old flash, you know?
It gives it more depth.
Yeah, so I come across like this, and I go over here and I come down the back side of it. Now we should get some yellow showing up a few places. Because I've changed the color temperature. I show up like that. I got attacked by a snake. And you can see that I'm in the way.
Watch how you point it.
What?
You got pink.
Make sure you don't shine it in people's eyes.
It's all. So the one I use for the cars, for big subjects, is this thing, and it's basically the same thing. We're through, but it's color. So it does no reduction and saves it. So this thing is the same. I can change the color temperature. I can change the intensity. If I hit the right button, it'll turn on, and it's bright. And so, you know, I'd say, Cindy, press the button. She starts counting down. 10, 9, I walk across and light something up, and then I can either turn it off or shove it up in the sky real high like this. And then she'll say, okay, we're gonna do another one. It's set 10, and we're across the back of the car,
Point it
the
that way.
airplane.
Point it that way.
Ooh, it is bright. Anyway, this thing's like $75. And it's just fun.
What is it called?
It's called a light wand.
Light one.
Yeah, NEWEER is a brand, and they're the ones that copy everybody else's stuff. It's a Chinese company, but
Make the ring lights too that are really popular for when YouTube videos.
yeah, it can be used as a fixed light. I also have this is another crazy thing. This is for macro work, and it mounts on your hot shoe on the camera. And you got two lights out here on the front. You can bend around any way you want. And it's
Watch where you point it.
it's I don't know. Okay. So there's now let me see. There you go. Now I got both of them. Should have both of them on. I have both of them on. You can turn one brighter and one darker. You can do like 3-to-1 exposure. So you're doing portraits of a bug. You can do that. So you got light ratio and all that. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
What?
What's his brand?
JJC.
That's fine.
Same thing comes out my ears. Oh, my nose. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've had this thing a short period of time. I'm kind of anxious to get out with it.
I've seen some where they have different colored lights you can stick in, but they're like $500-600.
Yeah.
Forgot what they're called.
Well, what's really nice is I just put the gel over the rubber band, you know, and I can get those gels dirt cheap from a company called Amazon.
Yeah.
When you live in McPherson, Amazon's your friend, you know. See, it's stuff about it. Okay, any more questions? Anything from the web?
Oh, yeah, if you're on the web, I've got Zoom and Facebook both pulled up here. You can feel free to type your questions and I'll
Trying to make it 45 minutes.
keep them in here in the room too, boys. Good questions for Jim. You know, I wonder, and I, if any of you are interested in, don't have a Photoshop subscription or interest in playing around with it, I have one through the library, and I'd be happy to get you set up in our digital access lab with some Photoshop access if you want to start trying to learn it.
I started with Photoshop.
You have your library. And I was just wondering, there is this program called GIMP or
Yeah.
that I wonder if I've never used it myself, but I wonder if it has some of these same capabilities in terms of compositing photos the way that you show on Photoshop.
Yes, yes, it does. I use that for the deep space astrophotography course I did at Bethel. It's not nearly as refined or fast as Photoshop, but it don't cost nothing. So that GIMP absolutely can. It's just going to be a little more difficult, but it'll happen. So
yeah,
and they're not evil like Adobe. So
So I use Photoshop and Lightroom Classic. And that's only two. That's basically what I use. I use a couple other add-ons for sharpening and noise reduction, but for the most part, I do everything I want to do in those two programs. Yes?
I think there's a lot of envy about the live composite from your Olympus. Olympus is the only brand with it, right? Nobody else has live composite.
The rumor has it that the new Nikon coming out will have a live composite feature. I mean, I don't know why you can't do it. Some, all mirrorless cameras, as long as it's not about photography anymore. It's about the software people. Software people they're going to control the world eventually. And artificial intelligence. I'm not talking about not talking about politicians at all, but that's part of what's going on with the whole world now. Photography is who's got the best software people.
Photoshop, you had up earlier, had beta.
Yeah. I'm an early subscriber. I've been around since Photoshop 3. So they gave me Photoshop beta. I get an update once a month or twice a month, basically.
Tested form.
Well, I don't know. They let me play with it. I don't give them any feedback. I mean, they ask for it, but I don't ever tell them. Basically, I'm using the only the AI thing that I use for Photoshop is I had some old race car photos I was doing blur pans. And you're following a car doing 180 miles an hour, you're trying to get it in the right spot. And I was crowding the nose of one of those car. And I just taken the Photoshop and added this over, it's filling in, and it filled it in perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know how it knew, but
Photo restoration is phenomenal.
photo restoration is very good. I've got a bunch of old photos from I've got 2 tintypes from my great grandparents. We're taking 1860s, so, and they don't need anything. I mean, it's amazing. We're going to lose a whole couple of generations of photos of people because colors they all fade. Black and whites don't. They're there if they're processed properly. So there's going to be a whole bunch of people that want to have pictures of their grandparents. Their kids growing up won't be saved anywhere because they're all gone. Unless if you make them digital. That's great. I got a bunch of digital photos on a 3.5-inch floppy. What do you do with those now, right? So 20 years from now, what will we be using? Well, hopefully hard drives, because I got a bunch of them, but nothing's forever in this world. Any other questions?
Are you published?
What's that?
Have you been published?
Oh yeah, a lot of places. First one was the Wyoming Wildlife magazine. I sold a photo of them a long time ago. It was fun for a while when like a cover would pay $400 or $600. Now $50. Yeah. So everybody said, how hard do you work at selling anything? Because I don't. Not anymore, I take any money I get to spend on golf balls.
Well, my thought was, an enterprising photographer that wanted to make some money could set up a booth at a car show with some example photos and let me come and make your car look like this, your classic car project, and I don't know.
Yeah, I could. I mean,
One could.
we got the college right there. I went over and showed them pictures, said, hey, I'd like to do some of your car. Yeah, okay, cool. Never heard of work. So, you know, it's people just, I don't know. It's up in, you know, if you're a photographer, you look at it and say, wow, that's really cool. If you're a magazine editor and you're looking for pictures to go in the magazine, that's cool. But if you own the car, I don't need a picture. I'm going to drive it every day. You know? So it's a little different thing. It's what you think. I mean, you think it sells really good. I haven't heard anything from my person in college, which has the only auto restoration 4-year degree in North America. So, and it's an amazing place. Any other questions?
Thank you, Jim.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.